Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. Now, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have so many times of the year on our calendar that are centered around food and, well, different types of food. Now, registered dietitian, health promotion specialist Kezia Philip, she joins us to help me feel triggered and speak with us about what we are eating this holiday season. How you doing, ma'am? It's been a while.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Yes, it's been a very long time. Long overdue.
And I don't know if it's because of my bad habits that we haven't necessarily been speaking, but if you had, sometimes people might say it at the end of the conversation, we said starting it in big at the front. If you want persons to take one thing away from this conversation about eating during the holiday season, what would that one thing be?
The one thing would be do it in moderation. So we're not saying about anything is bad. So there's no bad food or good food. Everything in moderation. Too much of one thing is good for nothing. So that's be the key takeaway.
But we have songs about people doing this till that, and we have people talking about better belly bust than good food waste. And Christmas is a time that we're visiting people, moving house to house and all kind of thing. How are we going to moderate with that?
All right, so you're going to have to plan. So if it is, you're going to be paragging somebody's house or people's houses, might do a 2, 3, 4 in one night. You have to plan. So for the day, you want to eat as usual. And then you have to plan ahead in terms of what you're going to eat when you get there. So some people like to starve. You want to save your calories. So you're not starving, you're not saving calories. You want to eat as usual. And if the event, let's just say it's supposed to go out for 6 and normally that's your meal time, have a snack. Don't just say, well, you'll skip it. So we're not skipping meals.
But some people, and I'm glad you spoke about not skipping meals, because some people talk about that caloric deficit. And some people talk about whether or not you're moving within your diurnal schedule. So some people might say it's not what you eat, is when you eat it. But why not skip meals if you say, well, we're going to load up after when we reach by auntie so and so. And if I don't eat she vexed with me and tell me how I can move so with her. But why not skip meals?
When you skip meals, it makes it difficult to monitor your blood sugar level. And this is for anyone, not just for diabetics. And then you tend to be very hungry. And when you are extremely hungry, you make poor choices. So you're full, but you're going back for more. Or you see something you don't really like, but you want to try because you're just starving. You might pick, throughout the evening. So when you are hungry, when you're starving, you make poor food choices. So that's why you really shouldn't skip meals.
And if we're going to pick, is there some things better to pick on than other things? Because you said there's no good food or bad food, is how it is, but there's that level of intentionality. So how do we bring that level of intentionality and better decision making to even something like picking?
Right. So let's just say, I know which would be another tip if it is you're going to a buffet style event, or limited drinks, right? Again, you're going to have to prepare. So you want to choose a small plate. That is really key in terms of helping you to, limit what you have, not piling your plate mountain higher. So you're using a small plate and you're going to be strategic around that buffet. So you want to start with the veggies. You want to have some protein foods in there. And then you can move on to the carbohydrate foods and that kind of thing. Right? So you want to be strategic and starting with the veggies. So if you want to graze, a lot of people graze. You want to graze on veggies, you graze on animal protein food. So you have turkey, ham, chicken legs, whatever it is, it might be meatballs, you graze on those protein foods.
Okay, so you're trying to put people in problems, and I tell you why. Because they start up with all that pile and mile of carbohydrates in the front of the line.
Yes. So you're skipping that part, and then you say moving on, because usually carbs first, then protein, then you veg. So you have to go reverse. Don't watch what anybody else doing. You just go in the reverse direction. You're starting with your veggies first, and then your protein, and then lastly your carbs. You won't have any much room for the carbs when you reach the carbs if it is you go in that order.
You're telling me as though, I feel like I need to do it with confidence, because I could see somebody say, well, where he come out from, but he don't know how he's supposed to be doing this in terms of like going through that line. And even though you said, and I come back to you saying no good or bad, but even when making some of those decisions, like protein choices and stuff, are there things that may be nuanced a little more to certain people? You mentioned diabetics. Would it be better to have turkey rather than pork? Some people, spiritual or religious parts may come into play, but at the same time, even if you're just looking from the point of health, are there ways that we can make some of those nuances? Are there levels to this?
Well, to some extent, yes. So you want to go whatever is your preference, right? But if you are diabetic, you have heart disease, hypertension, high blood pressure, of course you want to focus on lean meat. So of course turkey would be a lean meat. If you're looking at chicken, it'll be chicken breast, chicken leg, leaner cuts of the meat as opposed to wing and thigh. So you want to choose lean. It's okay for you to have, pork or beef or well, I don't mean wild meat season, but you want to not have the skin. So you're not having the skin, which would, and those who prepare meals for others, you want to remove the skin, trim the fat when they're preparing meats.
What about sauces? I think people talk about the secret in the sauce, but there could be a lot of things that are in sauces, be it you're having cheese, full cream, this or oil of that, or how do we treat with sauces?
The secret is really in the sauce. Sauce have secret calories because sauces are usually calorie dense. So there usually might be some fat in there, sugar. A lot of sauces do contain sugar in it as well. So you want to limit your sauces. Just a teaspoon or two. You have to really measure and limit it. We like sauces. I love to sauce on my food. I like wet food according to some people. But you really have to try to limit. You're not trying to put it all over the food. You might just put it on the salad alone, or let's just say a little bit dressing on the meat, that kind of thing. So you just have to try to limit your sauces.
If we go and sauce it down, because I know some people say you're a choker, but does the way that we choose our carbohydrates help us to cheat a little bit? And I ask the question because I've I've eaten in Jamaica, and there are a lot of things in terms like that, those slow release carbohydrates, like from provision and this and that, that would be releasing stuff on a more consistent and longer period versus simple carbohydrates, possibly like bread, rice. Is there a way that we can use that on our plate, on the small plate that you're giving people, to help mitigate if they want a little more than that finite amount of sauce that calls for a little more discipline?
Well, I wouldn't say that it could mitigate. You want to choose, as I said, the slow release. You want to choose the high fiber carbohydrate. So yes, provision, brown rice, or even if it's white rice, you want it with some veggies in it, or pasta with veggies. But ideally, you want, whole foods, which would, when we say brown provision, we include breadfruit and plantain and green figs. So you want to choose those, but you still have to limit it. So again, we go back to everything in moderation. So you can't say, well, I already having a high fiber carbohydrate, so that means I could go heavy on the sauce. You're still going to be adding the fat, you're still going to be adding additional sugar, which is going to just defeat the whole purpose of choosing a high carbohydrate, a high fiber carbohydrate. So we're still going back to moderation.
Yeah, again, no people don't make a room in this thing, boy. So yeah, man, we take a small break and we come back with more, really looking at how it is we're eating healthy during the holiday season, even beyond. But stay with us, we come back with more. Welcome back. We are speaking about healthy eating during the holiday season, possibly even beyond. We're doing so with a registered dietitian, health promotion specialist, Kezia Philip. And one of the things I appreciate about you, Miss Philip, is the fact that it's almost as though you don't really want to give any particular food a bad rep or a bad rap, but you inspire or you advocate for discipline. So know what it is you're doing. There's a level of intentionality, and like you said, planning. But at the same time, it seems as though you're kind of allowing people to eat, as opposed to saying, no, you cannot get that at all. But I know some people on the other side of the equation. So there's one person I've heard her say that when she feel for the ice cream so she eat ice cream till she head get numb, and then she boil, she bush. And no, this lady is a hot diabetic, eh? But but I've seen her outlast some people, but I'm sure go Paul Luck and see Paul Luck. But in the sense, but looking at the fact that we're coaching this conversation around holiday periods, even before we started talking about individuals with New Year's resolutions, is the seasonality of, or how does the seasonality of some food, some beverages that are around come into play? Is it a matter of eating more sorrels eat up calories, or is it a matter of the amount of sugar you have in that, or what seasonality? What does that bring to bear? What factors do that bring to bear when we're talking about how it is we're eating?
First of all, I need to say that food is life and life needs to be enjoyed. So I really don't believe in restrictive diets. I believe that you just need to balance your plate. So you want to follow the healthy plate guide. You must have some veg, you must have some protein, you must have some carbohydrate. You want to have portion control and you should be fine. When it comes to season, also it's Christmas season, we've been going into carnivals, carnival, all inclusive fest. A lot of, buffet style type of meals, and open bar, that kind of thing. You want to focus on what your favorites are or things that you don't usually get. So Christmas is synonymous with pastel, ham, turkey. You can focus on those. Or some persons like stuffing. You focus on, you choose the foods that are your favorite that you don't get throughout the year. And that will help you navigate. When you're looking at desserts, because you mentioned eating ice cream so they get a headache. You want to choose again things that you don't usually have. Normally Christmas time when you have your work dinner or whatever luncheons, you usually get various options that you wouldn't have typically. So just you choose your favorite or choose something and you want to try something new.
And you say that and you talk about all inclusive, and even before the all inclusives, you have some people who all of a sudden you can't have no space in the gym, the savannah looking full, because and this is even with people who have not decided to purchase costumes that are size too small as motivation because they're going to fit into it. But persons who are trying to eat healthily, not just for inner health, as I might want to describe it like that, but eating for aesthetics as well. Does that put individuals into a different realm with regard to how it is they look at their portions, how it is they have those that mix, that healthy eating, like you said, on the plate?
Well, for persons who have fitness goals, it will vary. So I wouldn't want to give a generalized statement. It depends on what your goal is, and that will depend on how your meal combinations and what type of foods or your macronutrients, what you'll be focusing on, right? Your differences between your macronutrients. So I wouldn't want to say it, but generally, and I really do believe that there's a diabetic diet or like a hypertensive diet. Everybody's supposed to be eating basically the same. It's a healthy eating diet, and generally, as I said before, you follow the healthy plate guide. You want to have some veg. You want to make sure there's some protein and there's some high fiber carbohydrates. So, of course, if you want to lose weight, you want to reduce the amount of carbohydrates. Those who want to gain weight, you would want to increase. You may increase your protein. You may increase some carbs. So it just really depends on your goal. It's how you're going to your meal combination with make up.
And with that, let's put in a plug for Keys to Wellness now. How do individuals organize these sorts of things? Is it a matter of saying, okay, well, I have a consultation so that you can streamline something towards what I want to do? Because like you said, you wouldn't necessarily want to give a generalized, say, okay, well, this is the solution for you to achieve this, when you don't know that person's history, you don't know what it is they're going through, their specific physiology, etc.
Yes. So when clients come to me, I do nutrition assessments, I do some counseling. Of course, I need to do some education. And it depend on the goals. I look at what you usually have. So again, as I tell you, food is life and life is to be enjoyed. So I'm not going to just say, well, here, look at that cheat, follow this diet. I tend to go with typically what you would have, and we'll make some changes, some healthy changes, of course. And depending on the goals, whether it is to lose weight, gain weight, to manage diabetes or heart disease, it will depend on how your diet will be an individualized or customized diet plan.
And even so I'm not asking for specifics, but in terms of the mistakes, myths, things that you need to help correct, what is the biggest fallacy or biggest thing that people come to you with and you need to say, okay, well, how about we think about it this way?
I would say a lot of people feel as if fruits and nuts as well, they are healthy, but if it because it is healthy, that you can eat unlimited amounts. So, especially mango season, I have pressure with the diabetics during mango season. But like I said, I eat a bowl of mango and mango help. But they do contain natural sugars. And so you have to control so that, and of course, the sugar, it's come like having a simple carbohydrate, right? So you're going to have to control that if you're trying to control blood sugar level, if you're trying to control even your cholesterol, and if you're trying to manage weight. So I think that whole misconception in terms of whatever is healthy, you could have it in unlimited amounts. And again, we go back to portion control, moderation, balance.
But balance. So what we're putting in is one thing, but also what we're putting out in terms of effort. Physical activity, what does that look like and how does that help contribute to the overall individual?
Well, physical activity is very important, and you know that the World Health Organization recommends that we do 150 minutes per week. So that's like 30 minutes, 5 days for the week. Now, I know this Christmas season, people are busy, even going into carnival might be busy, and you have a lot of events. So you could break it up a little 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, just to make it manageable. You want to be practical. You want to do things that you enjoy as well. So it doesn't mean that you have to do aerobics. I don't like aerobics. I'm not going to do aerobics. So, but you may like Zumba, a little fun, a little more relaxed, or you may even want to do some resistance training, or even just take a jog in the savannah, whatever it is you like to do. I encourage persons to do that. And another tip though is like after you eat, so it's not a thing that we do here in the Caribbean, or particularly in Trinidad, but in the States, they usually take a walk after eating, and that actually helps to manage your blood sugar levels. Yeah, it's really important. So you can even incorporate taking a 10-minute walk. This is after lunch, so that itis, that comatose food coma that we typically get after meals. A 10-minute walk will deal with that. So there's things that you can consider. You have to look for ways to incorporate physical activity throughout the day.
I asked you to have a conversation. I asked you to come and cuss me here. Mr. Look, I don't understand. I don't understand. but even but even moving forward, because there may be some people who may want to take a drastic approach, because we're in December, January just now, people say, as of January, and we're going to do this, and we go. Is there a way to ease into the diet? How do you start to plan those incremental changes so that we can be better at planning our meals, planning what it is we put into our mouth, or what it is we have that 10 minutes, might start off with 2, then 5, then 10, walking after. What are some of the things that you suggest?
Well, of course, you want to start this incremental. You want to start small. So if you don't usually have vegetables with your meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you have vegetables with your meals. You just have to include it in your plate. Reduce your portions. Swap out your snacks. If you usually have, those packet snacks like potato chips, that kind of thing, or sweet snacks for mid-morning, mid-afternoon, swap it out. Have an apple, have some yogurt, have nuts or seeds. So you just want to make small changes. You said the exercise. So I'm not expecting anybody to try to do an entire hour if you're not exercising right now. It's not practical for you to try to do an hour one time. You feel like you're going to die. It will be an hour of sufferation. So you don't want to do that. You start off small, 10 minutes, and then every minute will count. So you start 10 minutes, you will increase next week, you do 15 minutes. Of course, you're trying to be consistent. And that's why you want to do small changes so you can be consistent. You don't want to fall off. You don't time week 3, January, people forget about New Year's resolution, forget about all the goals that they would have made. So you want to take it slowly, and you want to be very specific in terms of the goals that you identify. So you can't just say, I want to lose weight. How are you going to lose the weight? What diet changes do you need to make? Do you need to increase your water? You're going to exercise when? What time? With who? You want to have an accountability partner. So you want to be very specific with the goals that you identify.
I really like that, and thank you so much for that. Because food, you said food is life, and life is to be enjoyed. And if
Yes.
we deal with it with a bit of intentionality, we may be able to enjoy it for a little longer. So we want to thank you so much, Kezia Philip. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, this has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you so much for joining us.